Day Leader College webinar. Thank you for joining us for the last Leader College webinar of the semester. We're excited to be here. Before we get started, we just want to show any newcomers how to use GoToWebinar so we can have an interactive experience. You can see on the slide here a picture of the control panel that you should have on your screen. If you can't see it, it may be because it's minimized. So you'll want to pull it out using that grab tab, which is noted with the letter B. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type them into the question pane, and you can see that down on as D, and we will get to it as soon as we're able. We also have a question and answer session embedded in the webinar towards the end, so we'll definitely get to your questions there. There's also a raise hand icon that you can use if you would like to be unmuted to ask your questions online. If you have any issues with your audio, make sure that you have entered your audio PIN as provided to you when you log into the webinar, and sometimes it helps to log off and log back in. And with that, we will get started.
Great, thank you, Melanie. Good afternoon, happy Thursday to everyone. I'm Mary Harrell, an Associate Director of Programs and Policy here at ATD, and that was just my colleague, Melanie Mulvey, who is an Assistant Director of Programs and Policy here at ATD, and we're so glad you could join us today. For today's webinar, our agenda for the day is we wanted to make a couple of ATD announcements, then give some shout-outs to our leader colleges who have been doing some great work over the last month. We'll have our presentation by Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, and as Melanie said, we'll have questions, so we'll take questions at the end of that session. And then I'm just going to give you a reminder for the next Leader College webinar. So on to our ATD announcements for today's webinar. Wanted to remind you that I know rating right up there with your accreditation reports, state program approval reports, is your ATD annual reflection and Leader College recertification. It's that time of year again for ATD. The annual reflections and Leader College recertifications are due by June 1 of this year. If you were certified as a Leader College in 2009 or 2012, this is your year to apply for recertification. We had a webinar on this earlier this spring, and that's available, the recording of that's available on the ATD website. And you'll also see on your screen where you can go on the website to find more information on the annual reflection, Leader College recertification. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, to go to the website, learn more about that, and work with your ATD core teams to complete the reflection and recertification. We also have another ATD Technology Solutions webinar coming up. That's going to be later this month on May 20th at 12:30 to 1:15, and it's going to be with Ivy Tech Community College and Blackboard. And Ivy Tech will be talking about how they've used Blackboard to really improve their enrollment process and to engage with prospective students on the college. So we're looking forward to that, and we hope you can join us for that webinar. We also, many of you probably along with us, attended AACC last month, and we wanted to recognize some of our leader colleges who were finalists for the AACC Awards of Excellence. Cuyahoga Community College, Greenville Tech, Lee College, San Jacinto College, Anne Arundel Community College, as well as a few other colleges too. Eastern Gateway, Bunker Hill, and Lee College. So congratulations to all of you for the well-deserved recognition. We're going to turn now to the main part of our webinar today. We're really pleased to have with us from Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, Ms. Denise Hansel, who is a talent consultant for the college, as well as Dr. Amy Cox, who is Associate Dean of Energy and Sustainability. They're going to be talking with us today about how they cultivate and develop leadership on their college campus. And so they'll be doing their presentation. I want to remind you that you can type in your questions in the chat box on your screen. You can type those in at any time, and we'll be taking questions at the end of their presentation. So I'd like to turn the mic over now to you, Ms. Hansel and Dr. Cox, for the presentation.
Thank you, Mary. I'd like to get started today by talking a little bit about Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. The college was founded in 1912 and is a nationally ranked two-year public college where students prepare for high-tech careers, earning associate degrees, technical diplomas, as well as beginning their bachelor's degree programs. NWTC is one of 16 colleges in the Wisconsin Technical College system. The college itself has 3 campuses in Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Marinette, and Sturgeon Bay, as well as 5 regional learning centers and several additional satellite sites. We serve approximately 42,000 students each year, that equates to approximately 7,000 full-time equivalent students. We have over 100 degrees, diplomas, and apprenticeship programs, over 80 certificates, and have transfer agreements with 28 colleges and universities. A bit about our employees. Currently, we have 754 benefit-eligible employees and over 1,200 part-time employees. Of those, 110 have leadership responsibilities to other employees. Leadership development at NWTC is an important part of our culture. In this webinar, we hope to provide you some insight into how our leadership program is structured and some tools that you can use to develop leadership programs at your college. Could I do the next slide? I'd like to get started by having you think back to your first leadership experience. The 2 sides of this slide depict very different leadership experiences. Which one most closely resembles how you experienced your first leadership role? Did your new job or promotion resemble the pictures on side A? You had some training, support, and even a mentor or coach to help you through those first couple of months and the challenges that you faced? Or was your experience more of a side B one? One day you went to work and/or a job offer came in and you were given a manager, leader position and the responsibilities that went with it, and you just jumped in. No training or support system except the good old, you can do this, we believe in you, you'll figure it out, just like I did. Just to get a feeling for the group, we're going to launch the poll now, and if you could just type in whether you most closely resemble your A experience or the B experience. So if you could just choose right now. I don't know, Denise, do you have any kind of which one would you choose?
Yeah, I guess I think back to my first organization as a nonprofit, and I definitely had multiple sites, managing 24-hour schedules, and I was definitely a B relation. I couldn't manage all the things going on, and so those pictures really kind of relate to me. I wish I did have someone to unwind the mess in my head, like in picture A, though. What about you, Amy?
Well, I think mine was more of a side B as well. It was my first leadership experience was at a previous organization prior to the college here. Is everyone done entering?
So we have 67% who have voted.
Well, let's see what it says.
All right, 72%.
So the majority of you are in the boat that Denise and I are in at the B, kind of thrown into the waters. You can do it. We support you in spirit. At NWTC, I think we were somewhere between the 2 of these when I started here, at least. We did not have a structured program, but we did have great leaders who mentored many of us as new supervisors in higher education. Our journey to a more structured approach really started with the knowledge that the better our leaders were prepared for leadership, the better they could prepare others for their positions, and eventually all of this would result in a much better experience for our students. So if we could go on the next slide. This journey at NWTC started with commitment from our president and vice presidents and our board. They knew they had people within the organization that would make great leaders and saw the benefit from promoting from within. In previous years and currently, the college has utilized the personal assessment of the college environment survey, or the PACE survey, as it pertains to employee engagement and assessment of leadership at NWTC. Our scores over the year have been very good in this survey, but there were a couple things that stood out. One thing that stood out was that employees did not see their path to advancement at the college, and our rates of promotions from within were not exceptional. And when you truly believe in the culture of your college, you know that promoting from within that culture is a significant benefit to the college. Another thing that stood out was that there was a belief that decisions in the organization were not always made at the right level. To change this meant that everyone from the top throughout the organization had to be comfortable with each other's skills and ability to make those decisions. NWTC's vision is that we are a cutting-edge, lifelong learning college that transforms, strengthens, and inspires. Our vision statement at NWTC does not just pertain to students, but also employees. Next slide. This brings me to the values of the institution and the realization of the importance that our leaders understand and live the values of the organization. Our executive level leadership spent quite a bit of time understanding and developing examples of the behaviors that they expect that all leaders and all employees of the college will have and to go along with these values. So what do we mean, and what is expected by our value of collaboration? How do you define if you are living that value in this organization? Results and accountability, another one that we really needed to spend some time defining and then educating people on what we meant by that. If we know the vision of the college as well as the values and their associated behaviors, how do we make sure that information is known and demonstrated by all the members of our institution? So that's really how this program, the ideas began, and with that I'm going to pass it over to Denise to talk about how we took this information and developed programs for leadership development.
Great, thanks Amy. Absolutely. In our next slide, I kind of show you some pictures of some of the key elements of our programs that I'm going to talk about. Throughout our programs and our sessions, we really provide lots of different learning opportunities that are research-based, that were kind of inspired and kind of learned from other organizations that are currently doing it, such as the Center for Creative Leadership and the Gallup organization. We think, leadership is not just a one-day workshop. It's not really just referring to one book or resource. It really doesn't happen just when you get that title. It's really about self-discovery and support. Through our courses that we offer many assessments as StrengthsFinder or Myers-Briggs, MBTI, or Thomas Killiman, conflict styles, TKI. And using these resources really help people kind of do that self-discovery. And we offer lots of support. Just as we go to a conference like DREAM, we kind of learn what best practices are from each other. We really want to create that environment here for the people to build relationships and learn from each other in a cohort models. And you're going to hear me talk about the cohort models more and more about all our programs that we'll kind of use today. All right, so let's talk about how do we do it? How do we get buy-in? It's really from the beginning. It starts day one in orientation. We have created a series of courses, about 8 or 9, for all new employees to take. And it's really about learning about the college, about meeting other new employees. It's for every employee. Our faculty have really even a deeper experience of learning within a cohort model. They meet for the first 3 years of their employment. Every employee, and even after that, so I've talked about the first year of a brand new staff member and then the first 3 years of a faculty member. Well, it just doesn't end there. From the top down, we have every employee has the benefit of 40 hours of professional development every year. This really opportunity gives them to feel supported, to grow and develop. As Amy mentioned, part of our vision statement is lifelong learning. Again, like not only for our students, but for all of our employees. So let's talk about our first level of leadership, I guess. After they kind of went through their first year or the first 3 years, what is really their next? What's their next opportunity? We developed a program for those who are maybe considering looking into leadership roles, and we call this program Looking at Leadership. Real easy name, or I like to call it LAL. These individuals are nominated by their supervisors who have shown leadership abilities in their current roles, or maybe even had further discussions within their performance reviews. This is a nomination program, so not an open enrollment. These individuals really have shown potential. This actually a little bit of things that doesn't always happen in order. We didn't really create Looking at Leadership first, and then our next leadership program I'll talk about in a minute, but we really started this program after because so many people have said, wow, I wish I would have had some of this earlier. So Looking at Leadership really started after, and I think it's really becoming a great program to give that person that stepping stone. So let's just take a look at the 4-day schedule. I just want to give you a highlight of that program. This is a 4-day program that kind of spans over about 2 months. The model, the cohort model, allows individuals to meet other people outside of around the college that they may have never really met before, or especially worked with. Maybe they've known each other a little bit, but now that we're giving them the opportunities to work on assignments and through activities in the courses, it's really creating that cross-functional support. Sure, I have someone in my department I can go to, but it would be really nice if I have someone outside of my department to bounce off ideas. I like to call it broadening their horizon. You see one of the on day 2 retreats, they have broadening horizon presentation. So it's really giving them the opportunity. Many of the topics that we talk about is really helping them, again, self-discover their style, really kind of hearing about some current leaders. We have a panel about current leaders so that you really get to understand what is really expected of leadership here. And it's really giving them some tools that they can use right away in their current role. They don't have to wait till they get the leadership role. They can use these skills and develop it now. We're going to start our 7th cohort of this Looking at Leadership this summer, and we have about 13 people. So 7 cohorts, about 12 to 15 people. It's a lot of people that's gone through this, and they really have really enjoyed. And people, just yesterday I got a recall saying someone that they wanted to refer a coworker to it. So I just love hearing that they've really learned, like meeting other people around the college. It's just been really a great experience. Their presentation on their last day is actually to our executive leadership team. So our executive leaders actually get to see some of our outstanding individuals and hear a little bit more about what they're learning. It's really a great experience for everyone. All right, so after Looking at Leadership, we have a program for our current leaders, which is called Inspirational Leadership Academy. This program is for every leader here at the college. Our first cohort started with our executive leadership team. And right now, we're in the middle of our 9th cohort. So as Amy mentioned, we have about 110 leaders here, and we pretty much have most of them through this cohort. We call this program Inspirational Leadership because we want to inspire. Leaders need to bring their vision to life. We spend some time kind of reflecting and understanding where their direction is, what is their vision. We do that through assessments, simulations, self-reflecting, and then we help them align to how they want to get where they're going. Okay? We do this through one-on-one coaching. Every participant in ILA gets a coach, and we spend time before and after each of our retreats to talk about what are their goals. We have people do 360s, and we look at where are some areas of strength and maybe some areas of opportunities. And then we really help them commit into traveling their path. what kind of leader, inspirational leader do they want to be? Let's look at this about the schedule for ILA. It's a 10-day course, but it spans over 5 to 6 months. As you can see, some of the key things that we're talking about, and actually, I just noticed that each of the main retreats, so the opening, mid-retreat, and the final are all 3 days. There's an error there. And then we just meet for 1 day on coaching. So it's really about self-discovery, as I mentioned before. Mid-retreat is really about collaboration, trust building, and support. Day one, the 1 day retreat, it's really about sharpening their coaching skills. How do they coach their employees? And the final retreat, we look on managing change and how are they going to grow and change to move forward. Did I mention that we have fun in these retreats? Every program that we have, it's really about interaction, learning from others, having fun, being maybe pushed outside their comfort zone. We do things like ropes course or other things like that. Amy, why don't you share some of your experiences as being a participant a graduate from our ILA?
So as one of the current leaders at the institution, I was able to attend the Inspirational Leadership Academy, one of the first ones. I think it was actually the second or third cohort. Prior to joining NWTC, my leadership experiences really had been trial by fire. I was promoted and given a title, but no real training to understand my leadership style and how that style affected those I was leading. That was never part of any of those transitions. The Inspirational Leadership Academy that I was part of was comprised of directors and managers throughout the college from various departments. I think Denise talked about that when she was talking about looking at leadership, but that was a key part of the Inspirational Leadership Academy as well. One of the true benefits, I think, of this experience was getting to know leaders throughout the college and understanding their work and their leadership struggles. I think this journey brought me closer to the many colleagues across the college that I may have never met if I hadn't been part of this, or really never been able to support in the work that I do. It also brought many opportunities to talk about other ways to do things, or to understand better why things are done a certain way. These connections, I know in my situation, have offered significant benefits to the college in efficiency and cooperativeness between departments. One of the things my group, the cohort that I was in, there's a capstone project as part of these groups, and the group I was with worked on a shared harvest food pantry. At that time, we had a lot of students that were struggling, did not have food on the table. Some were living out in our parking lots if they could, just really struggling. And one of the challenges we thought is, how can students be successful if they are hungry or thinking about how they're going to feed their family? So we took that on and developed that concept into a food pantry on our campus that still runs today. So there have been many projects like that over the course of those ILA groups, and that is another, I think, significant benefit to the college. Denise mentioned looking at leadership and their presentations to the executive leadership team. The Inspirational Leadership Academies present their capstone projects to our board of directors. So again, it puts us out there and maybe some people into something that they haven't done before or are not comfortable with, and really advances some projects at the college as well.
Yeah, Amy, there's been 24 plus capstone projects, so that is one of their final assignments for graduating ILA is to complete a capstone project, and so many of them have been so beneficial for student success and our college. It's just wonderful. One of the things I heard yesterday from a faculty member who happened to be talking about our instructional preparation academies, the first 3 years of a faculty member, they're in that cohort model, made a statement about how they really enjoy that 3 years because they feel supported from other faculty members. I mean, just as all our DREAM initiatives support our students who are coming in and we're needing to transform and inspire them. Our leadership programs, which our faculty one is a leadership program, is just no matter what role you're in, you're a leader here. So it supports them. And I really think that ILA and LAL, we have so many acronyms here, really support those individuals in those roles. As you know, you're thinking back to that picture that we showed before, the A is ideally where we want to be, so being supportive, having others help us through that, and these programs do that. So let's talk about what happens after. What's our moving forward? What goes next? So again, we're beginning to look as our college, what happens next after these great retreats and these great programs. We really want to look at how do we continue to help our executive leadership team have that big picture. How do they help develop, create our culture? So we're working on meeting with them and developing retreats for them. And then even at our senior leadership team level, how are they looking at the strategic outlook of our organization? How do they shape our culture? And then our frontline supervisors are really executing it all and living our culture. So we do offer programs and sessions throughout the year. We call them lead sessions, we call them SLT development, and then we call our ELT target development. And then we'll even do reunions for our Inspirational Leadership Academy, our ILA, just to tie it all in together. Communication and growth is really important. Our return on our investment, absolutely. We have our college has invested in our leadership development. Since 2010, it has grown a lot. We have invested our time, our resources, the funding, absolutely. It is worth our while. We have successfully promoted leaders within the college over the past few years. That's wonderful. Not only do we know people have interest in moving up or moving into leadership, but they're ready, and we've done that. We've grown them within. As Amy mentioned before, even in our engagement surveys, our leadership scores have increased and maybe even have stayed steady, which is great, even during some turbulent times. They have been shown very, through the development of our leadership, our scores increase. So we're going to continue to focus on our culture, our leadership, and our productivity and student success, all with developing our employees. We did provide additional handouts that have some more details. I think maybe we'll tell you about how to get access to that. Hopefully we kind of summarize what our leadership programs are here at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College.
So with that, I think we'll hand it back to Mary to see if there's any questions.
Great. Thanks so much. And I want to remind everyone that if you have questions, you can continue to type them into the chat box at the end. And I think I'm going to turn over to Melanie, to talk about access for the handout.
Yes, so for our regular users, you know that we follow up with everyone in the newsletter, but since we do have handouts, what we'll be doing is sending those handouts through an individualized email to the leader colleges so that everyone can have access to this, and we'll also include them in our newsletter follow-up. So you'll have access to the recording, to the slides we have here, and for the handout.
Great, thank you, Melanie. So, in terms of one of the questions is for the Inspirational Leadership Academy, how are the candidates or participants chosen for that? So for the LAL, the candidates are nominated. Is that same process for the Inspirational Leadership Academy?
No, there is no nomination. If you are holding a leader position here, you are the expectation is that you will attend that. We try to kind of mix up the group, the cohorts, to get that cross-functional feel for other people to learn. We don't have anyone reporting to each other in those cohorts either. We want to be able to create that environment where people are free to ask questions and learn and grow. We just kind of this last time it really was on who hasn't gone and how long have you been waiting. Some newer leaders will maybe wait for that a year to get them adjusted to the college, but other than that.
I think if you were starting out from scratch, though, I think at that point it was basically looking, the executive leadership went through it first, and then they looked at deans and directors, and so we started out with more looking at the higher level leadership, and then that whole idea of having different departments represented.
Yeah, I think that's, Amy, I think you said too, just having a cross-functional or a variety of different leaders that you may not work with every day, a really good opportunity for further learning. So that's what would be our recommendation.
Great, thank you. Another question was, you had mentioned at the beginning that each faculty staff member gets 40 hours of professional development at your college. So I think there's interest to know, how does that translate? Is there also a budget associated with that, and how how is that implemented at the college?
We actually, our talent development team offers a variety of different opportunities. That's not only limited to them. We're looking at, doing more of the 70-20-10 model, where 70% of it should be on the job learning. 20% could be even through mentoring or coaching, and 10% is actually in the classroom. People could read books. People could go to outside seminars, which might be paid through the department budget and not talent development budget. But we do offer a variety of different opportunities. People can go to other, this webinar would count as a professional development opportunity.
It definitely is, considered part of your work here at the college, and really just the benefit we believe far exceeds the cost of actually the hour or 40 hours a year that you're not doing your specific job. We also have in-service days where we focus on certain topics. Student success has been a topic. Equity and inclusion was our topic last year. So then there's a more concentrated effort on specific ideas or high-impact practices that we want the entire college to know about. We utilize hours in those ways as well.
That could be a whole topic of itself, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. As you've conducted these institutes over the years, and in terms of the different areas of leadership to be developed, whether it's helping faculty and staff understand their leadership styles, around emotional intelligence, collaboration, coaching, have you seen any patterns of where leaders typically need more development than in other areas? Where do you tend to spend more of your time in terms of sort of the content focus of these institutes?
Well, I think some of these programs are the baseline. We want everyone to get on the same page, using the same terminology. But as we continue to go to the future, the next step is really about where do we see. I mean, I would say maybe coaching and crucial conversations is something that right now as an organization we're looking at developing.
I think that's a huge benefit of this, is developing the next set of leaders. So if, at least from my perspective, knowing what type of leader I am, knowing how that affects, and being able to pick out what kind of leadership or what kind of styles of people that work with me have, that sort of understanding as a baseline really enables us to go a lot further with the crucial conversations.
And I think our crucial conversations topic, or where we're relying that, is based on our PACE results too, our employee engagement results. We want to make sure that we're meeting that. Employees are feeling like they're being communicated, decisions are being made at the right level. They feel empowered. So as we want to maintain those high scores, we'll look at what other can we do to develop ourselves.
Great, thank you. So I think that covers all of the questions that we have received. So I want to say thank you, Ms. Hansel and Dr. Cox, for joining us and talking about how the college invests in its own faculty and staff and developing the leadership. So we really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your experiences with us. So thank you for being with us. And I want to turn this back over to my colleague Melanie, who's going to do a quick poll about the webinar, and then I'll be back on to make another quick announcement, and then we'll close out for this lunch hour.
So you should see a poll showing up on your screen, and so we just like to get your feedback about these webinars and what's useful to you and what topics you're interested in. So if you could please answer the poll up here, select all with which you agree, and you can see the different options. This call was useful and informative. I enjoyed the webinar format. This webinar gave me new ideas that we could implement. There was enough time for questions and discussion, and this call did not meet my expectations. So you can select multiple answers, so select all that apply. Great, thank you so much.
So thank you for joining us. We are taking a summer break from our Leader College webinars, so the next time we'll gather for the webinars will be Thursday, September 3rd. So I wish all of you a wonderful summer, and we look forward to getting back together with you again in the fall. Thanks again for joining us.